Welcome back to English SpekNest, the podcast where English stops being a subject in a textbook and starts being a living, breathing part of your life. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Ethan. Grab your coffee, get comfortable, maybe take a little walk with us in your ears. Because by the end of this episode, you're not just going to understand these 5 tenses. You're going to feel them. Let's go.
Okay, Ethan, before we dive in, I have to say I was listening to you practice that intro in the hallway, and you said 90% like 4 times with different hand gestures.
You caught that? I was testing the dramatic finger point versus the open palm. The open palm won.
Honestly, good choice. The finger point felt a little aggressive for 8 a.m.
Noted. English SpekNest, aggressive finger pointing free since day 1.
All right, for anyone joining us for the first time, welcome to the studio. Well, the audio version of the studio. We've got 2 microphones, way too much coffee, and a whiteboard that Ethan doodles on when he thinks I'm not looking.
They're important doodles. There's a verb chart under there somewhere.
So here's my question to open us up, and I want everyone listening to think about this too. Ethan, when you learned a second language, what was the one thing that made you want to throw the textbook across the room?
Oh, easy. Verb tables. Pages and pages of conjugations. I remember sitting there thinking, if I have to memorize one more chart, I will never speak to another human being again.
And look at you now, speaking to thousands of human beings every week.
And that's exactly the point of today's episode. Because here's what nobody tells you when you start learning English. You don't need all the tenses to have real, beautiful human conversations. You need 5. And today, we're going to walk through each one. With stories, with mistakes, with a couple of embarrassing moments from my own life.
Oh, we're definitely telling the embarrassing stories.
I knew I shouldn't have said that out loud.
All right, tense number 1, the simple present. This one is your home base. It's the tense of habits, routines, facts, and who you are as a person.
Right. I live in Chicago. She works at a hospital. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Facts, routines, things that are true, not just true right now.
And here's the thing, I think learners underestimate this tense because it seems too simple. Like, oh, I learned that in week 1, I already know it. But think about how much of your daily life lives in the simple present. I wake up at 7. My brother drives me crazy. I don't drink coffee after 3 p.m.
Wait, you don't drink coffee after 3 p.m.? Since when?
Since last Tuesday. It's going terribly. But that's the simple present. It describes my policy, even when my actual behavior is questionable.
That's actually a brilliant example. The simple present doesn't care if you failed yesterday. It's your pattern, your identity in grammar form.
And there's one trap we have to mention because it catches everyone. The third person S. He walks, she talks, it rains.
Yes, and here's my honest take. If you forget the S and say she walked to work, everyone still understands you. But since it's such a small fix, why not clean it up? Just remember, he, she, it, they like to take an S with them. One little letter.
So listeners, quick check-in. Think about your morning. Can you describe it right now in the simple present? I wake up, I check my phone, which I shouldn't do. I make breakfast. Try it. That's tense number 1, and you already own it.
Okay, tense number 2 is where it gets fun, because this tense has a secret double life. Present continuous. I am learning English. She is cooking dinner. Actions happening right now.
Right. If the simple present is your routine, the present continuous is the movie playing right now. I am talking. You are listening. My neighbor is drilling into the wall at the worst possible moment, as always.
Is he doing that right now?
He is always doing that right now. That's actually the perfect example of the difference. He drills every morning, simple present, a habit. He is drilling right now and I want to cry, present continuous, happening at this moment.
But here's the double life you mentioned. This tense also talks about the future, arranged plans. I'm meeting my friend tomorrow. We're flying to Mexico next week.
And that surprises so many learners. You can use a present tense for the future?
You can, when the plan is arranged. When there's a ticket, a calendar invite, a reservation. I'm seeing the dentist on Friday. It feels fixed, almost real already.
Thought onto that idea. Arranged versus spontaneous, because it's going to become the plot twist of this entire episode later. There's a showdown coming between will and the present continuous, and honestly, most English speakers get this one wrong without even knowing it.
See what he did there? Now you have to keep listening.
Curiosity is a beautiful thing. Tense number 3, the simple past. This is the tense of stories, completed actions, things with a clear ending. I visited my grandmother last weekend. We watched a movie. I spilled coffee all over my laptop.
Wait, is that a real story?
It is extremely real. 2 weeks ago, full cup, brand new keyboard. And you know what's funny? When it happened, I didn't think about grammar at all. But when I told my friend about it later, I used perfect simple past without trying. I spilled my coffee, I panicked, I grabbed every towel in the house, and my laptop survived.
That's the key insight right there. When you tell a story, your brain naturally reaches for the simple past. It's the storytelling tense. Humans have been telling stories around fires for thousands of years. This tense is basically encoded in our DNA.
And here's how to make it feel easy. Attach a timestamp. Yesterday, last year, in 2019, 2 days ago. If you can point to a finished moment on a timeline, you need the simple past. Done, closed, complete.
Okay, quick story from you. 1 minute. Something from last week. All in simple past. Go.
All right. Last Saturday, I went to the farmer's market. I bought way too many peaches. I tried to carry everything in one trip, which was a mistake, and a peach fell out of the bag and rolled under a parked car. I crawled halfway under that car to get it. A stranger watched the whole thing. We made eye contact. Neither of us spoke.
The eye contact is the best part. And did you notice, listeners? Went, bought, tried, fell, crawled, watched, made, spoke. 8 verbs, all simple past. And you just lived an entire Saturday with him. That's the power of this tense.
That peach better have been worth it. It was, honestly. It was a great peach.
You know, I have to pause for a second because I was just thinking, we're 3 tenses in and we've already told stories about coffee disasters and peach rescues, and this is exactly why I love doing this show. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more English podcast episodes like this, don't forget to subscribe to English SpekNest and turn on notifications, because next week's episode might be the one that changes how you speak forever, and it really does help us keep making these for you.
It truly does. Every single subscriber is someone who said, yes, I want to grow. And that's honestly the whole spirit of this channel. Okay, where were we? Ah, yes, the tense that causes more confusion than all the others combined. Tense number 4, the present perfect. I have lived. She has traveled. We have seen. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is the tense that learners fear the most.
Can I tell you why I think that is?
Please.
Because it's not really about the past or the present. It's about the connection between them. It's the tense of, the past is not finished with me yet. I have lost my keys. The keys are still missing now. She has broken her arm. Her arm is still in a cast now. I have visited Paris 3 times, and I might go again. The door is still open.
That's honestly the most beautiful explanation of grammar I've ever heard. The past is not finished with me yet.
And here's where I get personal, because I promised myself I'd share this on the show someday. When I was first teaching English abroad years ago, I had a student, an older man, maybe 60 years old, who wanted to learn English for one reason. His granddaughter had been born in Australia. And he told me, in broken English, I have never held her. I have never spoken to her, but I have dreamed about it every night. 3 present perfect sentences. Perfect grammar, actually. But more than that, every one of those sentences was a door still open. His past wasn't finished with him yet. And when he finally got on that video call and said, "Hello, I am your grandfather," the present perfect became the simple present. The dream became the fact.
Wow. Yeah. I need a second.
You know, people think grammar is rules and charts, but grammar is that. Grammar is a grandfather saying, I have dreamed about this every night, and meaning it.
So here's the practical takeaway, and then I'll let my voice recover. Use the present perfect in 3 situations. 1. Life experiences with no finish time. I have tried sushi. Have you ever been to New York? 2. Recent news. She has just gotten a new job. I've just finished the book. 3. Past actions with a result now. I have lost my phone, so please call you on mine because mine is missing.
And the number 1 rule, never use the present perfect with a finished timestamp. You can't say, I have visited Paris last year. Last year is closed. The door is shut. So you say, I visited Paris last year. Simple past. The present perfect only lives where time is still open.
I have been to Paris. Open door. I went to Paris in 2019. Closed chapter. Feel the difference. One is a story. The other is a part of who you are.
All right, tense number 5, and then the showdown. Simple future with will. And this tense has 3 superpowers. Prediction, I think it will rain tomorrow. Spontaneous decision, I'll have the pasta. And promise, I will always be there for you.
Notice the decision one. Spontaneous. Made in the moment. You're at a restaurant, the waiter is standing there. You look at the menu and boom, I'll have the salmon. You didn't plan it yesterday. You decided right now. That's will.
The classic example, the phone rings and you say, I'll get it. Nobody sits there and plans, at 7:04 p.m. I will answer the telephone. It just bursts out of you.
And promises. This is where will gets emotional. I'll help you move on Saturday. I will never forget this. There's weight in it. Will is the tense of commitment.
Okay, listeners, quick what would you do moment. Your friend says, I have a job interview tomorrow and I'm terrified. What do you say? Hopefully something like, you'll be great. I'll call you after. Prediction plus promise. Both with will. 2 seconds of grammar, and you've just made someone's day.
And now, the moment Ethan teased 40 minutes of podcasting ago. In this corner, spontaneous, decisive, born in the moment, will. And in this corner, organized, scheduled, calendar in hand, the present continuous.
I can't believe you just did a boxing intro for grammar. I love this show.
Here's the rule that changes everything. If you arranged it, if there's a plan, a ticket, a calendar entry, use the present continuous. I'm meeting Sarah on Friday. If you decided it just now, in this exact second, use will. You know what? I'll come with you.
The difference isn't about the future at all. Both talk about the future. The difference is about when the decision happened. Before the conversation, present continuous. During the conversation, will.
Test the listeners, Ethan. Give them a scenario.
All right. Your coworker says, do you have any plans for the weekend? And you already bought concert tickets last week. You say, I'm going to a concert. Present continuous. It's arranged. The tickets exist. But if your coworker says, I really need someone to help me Saturday, and you decide on the spot, you say, I'll help you. Spontaneous. Will.
And honestly, even native speakers blur these. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'm seeing you tomorrow. Both exist. But understanding the feeling underneath them makes you sound so much more natural. One is a spark, the other is a plan.
All right, rapid fire round. Common mistakes. Say them, feel them, fix them. Olivia, hit me.
Mistake 1. I am agree. No, agree is a verb, not an adjective. Just I agree.
Mistake 2. Yesterday I have seen him. Finish time, close the door. Yesterday I saw him.
Mistake 3. She don't like coffee. She needs her S. She doesn't like coffee.
Mistake 4. I am having a car. Careful, have for possession doesn't take the continuous. I have a car. But I'm having lunch is fine because that's an action, not a possession. English is sneaky like that.
Mistake 5, and this one is my personal mission. I will to go. After will, the verb is naked. No to. I will go. She will call. Clean and simple.
And here's the bigger lesson under all of these. Mistakes are not failures. Every single one of these errors means someone was brave enough to speak. I'd rather hear I am agree said with confidence than perfect silence.
Okay, we can't talk about the simple past without talking about the rebels of English, irregular verbs. Go becomes went. Eat becomes ate. Buy becomes bought. They don't follow the rules, they never have, and they never will.
They are the rock stars of grammar, completely unmanageable. But here's the good news. You don't need hundreds of them for daily storytelling. Maybe 30 to 50 cover almost everything. Go, went. See, saw. Take, took. Come, came. Get, got. Make, made. Know, knew. Think, thought.
And here's my trick. Don't memorize them from a list. Memorize them inside stories. Yesterday, I went to the store. I bought some peaches.
I fell under a car. I made eye contact with a stranger.
Exactly. Your embarrassing peach story is now a teaching tool forever. Stories stick. Lists fade. Your brain is wired for narrative. Feed it stories.
And one gift for you, the 3 verbs you'll use most: be, have, and go. Was, were, had, went. If you mastered just those 6 little words in the past tense, you can already tell someone about almost any day of your life. It was a good day. I had fun. I went to the park. That's a story, a real one. Before we land this plane, 5 vocabulary words from today's episode, because we used them all on purpose.
Number 1. Go-to. Your go-to is your favorite, reliable choice. This cafe is my go-to place on Sunday mornings. The simple present is your go-to tense for routines.
2. In progress. Something happening, not finished. My coffee-free afternoons are a work in progress. The episode is in progress. Perfect partner for the present continuous, by the way.
3. A bridge between. A connection joining 2 things. The present perfect is a bridge between the past and the present. Also beautiful for life. Music is a bridge between cultures.
4. Spontaneous. Unplanned in the moment. I'll get the door. That's a spontaneous decision. We took a spontaneous road trip last summer.
5. Go through. To experience something, often something hard. She's going through a difficult time. I went through my notes before the exam. It can mean to endure or to examine. Context tells you which.
5 words, and every one of them appeared in this episode naturally. That's how vocabulary should live, inside conversations, not on flashcards in a vacuum.
Ethan, can I ask you something serious before we close?
Always.
Do you remember what that grandfather taught me? Because here's what it really was. He never mastered all 12 English tenses. He never learned the future perfect continuous. He probably never will. But he told his story. He reached across an ocean with 5 tenses and a willing heart. And it was enough.
That's the whole episode, isn't it? That's the whole show, really.
So if you're listening right now and you've been waiting until your grammar is perfect, waiting until you've memorized every tense, waiting until you sound ready, I need you to hear this. You are ready now. 5 tenses. Simple present for who you are, present continuous for right now and your plans, simple past for your stories, present perfect for the doors still open in your life, and will for every promise you're brave enough to make.
Perfection is not the price of connection. Communication is. Every person you admire who speaks a second language beautifully, they all said I am agree 100 times before anyone applauded. They all forgot the third person S. They all froze in a coffee shop once. The only difference between them and someone who never learns, they kept talking.
The past is not finished with you yet. That's what the present perfect teaches us. And honestly, it's what life teaches us. Your English journey is a work in progress, and that is not a weakness. That is the whole adventure.
So here's your homework, and it's not a worksheet. Tonight, tell someone, a friend, a mirror, your cat, one story in the simple past, one plan in the present continuous, one promise with will, 3 sentences. That's it. That's the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming.
5 tenses, 1 voice, yours.
All right, friends, that's our time for today. Thank you so much for spending it with us here on English SpekNest. Truly, every minute you listened, you were practicing. You were in progress in the best possible way.
And now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about this topic? Which tense is your biggest challenge, and which one is your go-to? Drop your answer in the comments, write us a sentence using the present perfect, and tell us where in the world you're listening from. We read every single one.
If this episode helped you, share it with someone who's on their own English journey. Maybe it becomes a bridge between you two. And of course, subscribe to English SpekNest and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode.
And Ethan, for the record, I am meeting you here next week. That's an arranged plan, present continuous.
And I will bring the coffee. Spontaneous promise. Simple future. See what we did there?
Until next time, keep speaking, keep making mistakes, and keep those doors open.
We'll see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.
Bye for now.